Like a bearded dragon out of brumation, I am back. And for those of you who don't get the reptile joke, brumation is a dormant period that some reptile species go through. Their metabolic rate and energy consumption drastically lowers and they become inactive, saving energy for the next season, a survival strategy to withstand unfavorable environmental conditions, often done in cool winter months. But I digress. On with the show. Welcome back, everyone. This episode is rather special for me, for it highlights my very first wild snake encounter in Australia. Contrary to popular belief and the stereotypes us Americans have about Australia, the land down under is not littered with creepy crawlies. In fact, reptiles, particularly snakes, are actually quite hard to come across. The stories of finding snakes in toilet bowls do exist, but it doesn't really happen as often as you might think. Very, very rarely does it happen. In fact, to find a snake, you have to almost stumble upon them by accident. And this is also the case when you actively go out to search for them in the wild, which is exactly what happened to me. The encounter took place in Dharawal National Park, located near Campbelltown in the state of New South Wales. This beautiful park earned its title of National Park in the year 2012, with support from the community, as it originally was a simple conservation area, and before that a water catchment area, but its roots are far more deep-seated. Dharawal National Park has a deep connection to Aboriginal culture, as it is the traditional land of the Dharawal Aboriginal people. The park contains beautiful walking trails. One of the most prominent of the trails is the Minerva Pool walking track, which houses the sacred, naturally occurring Minerva Pool, which is considered a sacred women's place for the Aboriginal Dharawal people, and as such, according to the council, though anyone is permitted to walk in the trail and admire the waters from the banks, only women and children are permitted to enter the waters of Minerva Pool. Dharawal National Park is home to a variety of animal species, including tree frogs, water dragons, and swamp wallabies. However, as fascinating as those animals are, in my opinion, the crown jewel of this national park is the elusive broadhead snake, scientific name Hoplocephalus bungaroides. A small, venomous species of snake, approximately 50 to 90 centimeters in length, which is about 20 to 40 inches. This snake belongs to the elapid family, which is inclusive of the eastern brown snake, the red-bellied black snake, and the tiger snake. A couple of my friends and I were hiking the Jinga walking trail when I stumbled upon the cold-blooded beauty. The irony of the situation was that I was complaining that since moving to Australia, and despite going out on bushwalks, I haven't even encountered a single wild snake. And I even made the comparison, stating that my luck with finding snakes in the wild is about the same as my luck within the dating realm and women in general. Nothing, just emptiness and disappointment. However, one of my chipper companions, Hamish, bestowed upon me a few words of wisdom. Mate, finding cool reptiles really is just like finding a great girl. You shouldn't put too much pressure on yourself. You just gotta let it happen. Who knows, it might even surprise you. 1 minute nothing, then all of a sudden bang! Now, I'm not one to be superstitious, but his words must have been magic, because within the next 5 minutes, I witnessed an adult broadhead snake in the middle of the trail just inches from my feet. It is actually quite difficult to spot a wild broadie, as they're usually more active at night, and they're also listed by the New South Wales government as endangered, as their numbers have drastically decreased due to habitat destruction as a result of urbanization. And as such, finding one in its natural habitat in broad daylight is quite the miracle. They used to have a large range, but now they are limited to the sandstone habitats in Sydney. They're called broadhead snakes because when they feel threatened, they flatten out their heads, making it broader as an intimidation display. They can be identified by their black coloration, with yellow vertical bands bearing a resemblance to carpet pythons, specifically diamond pythons. It is theorized that this is biomimicry, when one innocuous species mimics a more dangerous one to deter predators. In this case, the harmless, non-venomous, juvenile or hatchling diamond pythons resemble the venomous broadie. Now, let me show you some candid footage of this beautiful banded broad-headed snake. Hey guys, we are at Dharawal National Park, and right over here we have a venomous snake. This is known as a broad-headed snake. Oftentimes mistaken for a young carpet python. Deadly mistake, don't ever make it. These are actually a type of elapid snake with a very interesting venom. When you get bitten by the snake, the venom can actually make you bleed out of every orifice that you have. So yes, every orifice. That means you're through your ears, your nose, your mouth, and down under. So if you see the snake, don't try and pick it up thinking it's a baby carpet python, because it's not. Admire it, videograph it, but don't try and do what I'm doing. I've handled snakes before, but even me, I'm not gonna mess with this snake trying to pick it up. I'm just keeping a distance from it using a stick. And you can see how fast it actually is. Look at that. Just a little. And then we're just gonna let him go into the bush. There he goes. Look at that. Amazing, isn't it? Despite possessing a strong hemotoxic, tissue-destroying, and blood-destroying venom that leads to hemorrhage, there haven't been many fatalities recorded from this species due to how elusive they are, though I would not recommend testing that statement. Now, just a bit of a disclaimer, I am well aware that in the video I am interacting with the venomous snake. However, I handled snakes before, and I know better than to pick up a venomous snake with my bare hands, which is why I am using my hiking stick to distance myself from the actual snake. Regardless, I wouldn't recommend doing this, especially if you haven't handled snakes before. Once again, I know how to handle snakes, and know how to keep myself safe, and I know how to keep the snake safe. So before you guys, get a bit of an aneurysm from that little video clip, I just want you to keep that in mind. So to recap, 3 men wander through Australian forest and find rare endangered snake. And I must say, this was probably going to be one of my most cherished animal encounters in Australia. And hopefully there are many more to come. Now I know that snakes, especially venomous ones, are not the favorite animals of most people. However, it is important to understand that they play a very significant role in the environment, such as for pest control, and without them the entirety of the ecosystem can be thrown into disarray. So the moral of the story is, snakes are friends, not foes. Oh, and good things come to those who wait. Sometimes, when you least expect it.